Hello everybody! Today we're talking about editing, everyone's favorite part of the writing process, right? Am I right? More specifically, we're talking about self-editing, which is the series of revisions and edits that you do before you submit your manuscript to a professional editor. This process can be overwhelming for writers, especially if this is your first go at it, which is why I am breaking down my top 10 tips for self-editing your novel before you ship it off to a professional editor. On that note, I'd like to give a shout out to Edit Out Loud, who has graciously sponsored today's video. Edit Out Loud is a super handy app that allows you to upload any Word document, listen to it anywhere and at any time, and leave comments within the app so you know exactly when and where to edit. Many of you know audio helps writers catch errors they may have missed while reading. If you're not familiar with this, we will be covering it later on in this video. It also helps you catch redundant words, awkward sentences, pacing problems, and issues with grammar. I uploaded The Save Your Sister and listened to it through Edit Out Loud while I was in the waiting room at Cliff's doctor's appointments, and it was beyond helpful. Listening to the manuscript on its own is helpful, but being able to leave comments where you list exactly what needs to be edited is what makes this app really stand out for me. If you're a multitasking writer like myself, I definitely recommend Edit Out Loud. You can check it out on their website, in the App Store, and now in the Google Play Store. It's available on both iPhone and Android, and even better, you can try it out for free. Get on it, I've got it linked below. You're welcome. If you want to learn more about the writing and publishing process, subscribe to my channel and ring that bell. I post videos on Wednesdays with bonus content on Mondays. And don't forget, my upcoming dark fantasy romance novel, The Save Your Sister, is available for pre-order right now in ebook, hardback, and paperback. Everyone who pre-orders is welcome to enter my pre-sale giveaway, and everyone who enters will be walking away with a 5-chapter teaser of TSS, plus you will be eligible to win over 35 prizes. I have all the information listed below. With that said, let's break down my 10 tips for self-editing your novel in 3, 2, 1, go. Number 1, chapter by chapter. But Jenna, editing a manuscript is so intimidating because you have to revise an entire book. That's true, which is why you should focus on one chapter at a time instead of the whole damn thing. A lot of newbie writers get over the hump of crafting their first draft and then give up, because the concept of editing is so overwhelming. I know it feels like a lot to fix up an entire manuscript, but you know what's a whole lot easier? Fixing 15 pages, then another 15 pages, and then another 15 pages. You'll be surprised just how quickly you can fly through your edits when you only look at them one chapter at a time. Number 2, do what the pros do. This does not mean you need to be as qualified as a professional editor, but you should try to emulate their process. If you're not familiar, the standard professional editing process looks like this. First, there's the developmental edits, which means storyline and content edits. Second are the line edits, which means editing paragraphs, style, and flow. Third is the copy edit, which is where you look at your work on a sentence level. So we're talking about punctuation and grammar. And lastly is the proofread, which is where you look for any teeny tiny mistakes that have slipped through the cracks. This order makes sense because there's no point in editing punctuation if you haven't even tackled the story issues. Tackling story issues means having to rewrite scenes completely. Plus, taking your self-editing process one focal point at a time means each draft will be a lot less overwhelming. You may see a ton of grammatical errors, but you don't have to worry about them right now because you're focused on the developmental edit. Pay attention to the phase that matters and leave all the other problems for a future round. Number 3, color coding. If you're a visual learner, there is so much power in color coordination. When I first begin the editing process, I start by reading one chapter at a time. Sometimes there are issues that are easy to address, other times, not so much. If I come across a mistake that's really difficult to correct, I highlight it based on what kind of issue it is and move on. You can choose any color coding method you prefer based on your style, strengths, and weaknesses. But typically, I highlight anything that can be shortened or deleted in blue, anything redundant in pink, and anything that just needs to be rewritten altogether in yellow. This allows me to easily scroll through my document and look for specific errors to address. For example, if I'm purging repeat phrases, I'll look for pink. Number 4, move on. Another benefit of the highlighting method is it allows you to move on. Sometimes writers fixate on an error they can't quite figure out how to fix. You can sit there for hours getting absolutely nothing done, or you can highlight that bitch and move on. Save the tricky stuff for later. It's possible the answer will come to you over time, or you might need to ask other writers for their feedback. But there is no benefit in mulling over that problem for hours and wasting precious time. Slamming your head against the wall will do you no favors. Make the most of your time and get back to work. Number 5. Listen. This is why Edit Out Loud is such a godsend. There are few things more helpful than reading your work out loud or having it read out loud to you. When you silently read your manuscript over and over again, you start to memorize the content, which means it's very easy to skip over blatant mistakes. That don't happen when it's read out loud. Mistakes and clunky sentences stand out like a sore thumb. That's exactly what you want during the self-editing process. You need to hear your manuscript read out loud in order to fine-tune your style, address line edits, and of course, fix those pesky typos. I recommend having your book read out loud at least once during the self-edit process, but the more times the better. Number 6, critique partners. I don't care how great of a writer you are, you don't know everything. Collect a pool of critique partners and combine your knowledge to create a team of super writers. With your powers combined, you are Captain Planet. Critique partners are fellow writers who critique one another's manuscripts. The process is kind of like a light-handed edit before the professional edit. Someone, or even multiple people, read through your manuscript and point out any issues that you've missed because you are too close to the project. This is especially helpful if you have writing quirks, for example, an over-reliance on filter words or characters who all have the same voice. It's also great to enlist critique partners who are skilled in areas that you're weaker at. For example, if you're a great world builder, your critique partner should probably be really great at dialogue. Critique partners will let you know how you're fucking up so you can build off one another and improve together. Number 7, beta readers. The beta reader's job is mostly to address the entertainment level of your novel. Is it interesting? Are they invested in the characters? Does the plot make any sense at all? This information is super important, and while it might not relate to the nuts and bolts of your writing, it's still going to heavily influence your editing. No point in publishing a book if no one likes it. The most common things I look for from my betas are their reactions to specific characters and scenes, as well as whether or not they understand the content as I've intended. This will help guide you during your edits so you can make the novel as clear and engaging as possible. Number 8, switch up the format. Changing the font or background of your manuscript can go a long way. We hear a lot of writers talking about changing the font to Comic Sans or switching the background from white to yellow, but that's because switching up the format can drastically change the reading experience. Other options are to change your reading device. For example, if you've been writing your manuscript on Word, on your laptop, you then read it on a Kindle or an iPad. This can provide an entirely new perspective, which will make the mistakes all the more evident. Number 9, focus on the character. If the issue in question is a particular character as opposed to a plot point or a scene, then it makes sense to focus all of your attention on the scenes that character appears in. I usually like to highlight that character's moments in green, and then I go through the document and look for all the green, or I do a name search. This allows me to focus on one person, their voice, their personality, their actions, without getting bogged down in all the other details of the story. And lastly, number 10, the simplest but mightiest tool, find and replace. The find and replace tool is your friend, especially if you have a propensity for overusing certain words. Simply type that word into your search bar and a number will pop up showing you how many times you've used that word in your document. This is so helpful if you want to narrow down an obscure word in your writing, if you want to change a character's name, or if you've made the same typo over and over again and you gotta fix it. It saves you from having to read the manuscript another time, because let me tell you, you're gonna read it so many times throughout the editing process. Instead, you can allow Word to find the problem areas and nip them in the bud. So that's all I got for you today. A huge thank you to Edit Out Loud for sponsoring today's video. If you want to listen to your manuscript while you're on the go, maybe while you're exercising or doing chores, but you also want the ability to leave comments directly in the manuscript letting you know what to edit, then this is the perfect app for you. It's available in the App Store and on Google Play. You can use it on your iPhone or your Android, and you can try it out for free. I've got the information listed below. Check it out. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, ring that bell. The Save Your Sister is available for pre-order in ebook, paperback, and hardback. Plus, I'm holding a massive pre-sale giveaway. You can win one of over 35 prizes, plus I am handing out massive grand prizes. All of the information is listed below. Pre-order a copy today. Get on it. And be sure to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, and of course, you can tweet me at Jenna Moreci. Bye!
Hey, this is Nick, the voice of Tobias and the narrator for The Saviour's Champion, written by our Jenna. If you enjoy her writing advice, or if you want to find out about her publications, then you know what to do. Click the subscribe button, ding the bell, and you'll get notified every single time she puts up a video or she goes live. Now what are you waiting for?